Good morning, everyone. Today, the Group 3 will be discussing with the topic regarding on how to select a topic and identify the purpose of the chosen topic being selected. The students of BID 1G are so excited to witness the information they will be received in order to form a concrete and well-organized public speaking and written outputs. Live at Salapungan, Herona. Mireya Delight, take a shot.
Topic. So what is topic? Topic is a subject of a speech wherein it is a particular issue or idea that serves as the subject of a paragraph, essay, report, or speech. So yung primary topic of a paragraph, pwede siyang i-express in a topic sentence. Then the main topic of an essay, report, or speech may be expressed in a thesis sentence. And the first step in speech making is choosing a topic. Then there is two broad categories of potential topic. Number one is topic you know a lot about. Number two is topic you want to know more about. Most people speak best about subjects with which they are most familiar. For example, is yung mga topic na nakaka-relate tayo, ganun. Or nakaka-relate sa mga experience natin. Basta yung mga familiar, something that familiar with us. Dito naman sa number 2, these are topics which you already have some knowledge, pero hindi mo pa siya gaanong kaalam, ganun, or expertise, pero hindi pa siya enough to prepare a speech without doing additional research. Brainstorming is a method of generating idea for speech topics by free association of words and ideas. So itong brainstorming na tinatawag is isang informal way to generate topics or points to make about your topic. Then, there are 3 brainstorming procedures. Number 1 is personal interest or inventory. Number 2, clustering. And number 3 is internet search. Here in personal interest or inventory, it is anything that relate with ourselves, such as experiences, interests, and hobbies. In clustering naman, it is the dividing of general topic into several categories, while internet search is the finding of topic through a subject based on website or some other references portal hanggang sa makita or makahanap ka ng isang maganda or good topics. I'm Mireya Isadel Delay, live at Salapungan, Herona, reporting. Back to you, Nicole.
Thank you, Maria, to give bucket information regarding the constraints of the public speaking. Live at Benlag, Herona. Take the floor, Reyna de las Reyes.
Constraint referring to any limitation or restriction you may have as a speaker. Understand the 4 primary constraints of topic selection. Demonstrate an understanding of how a topic is narrowed from a broad subject area to a manageable specific purpose. For example, in the professional world of public speaking, speakers are often hired to speak about a specific topic: time management, customer satisfaction, entrepreneurship. Typically, we refer to 4 primary constraints: purpose, audience, context, and time frame. Purpose. The first major constraint someone can have involves the general purpose of the speech. As mentioned earlier, there are 3 general purposes: to inform, to persuade, and to entertain. If you've been told that you will be delivering an informative speech, you are automatically constrained from delivering a speech with the purpose of persuading or entertaining. In most public speaking classes, this is the first constraint student will come in contact with, because generally teachers will tell you the exact purpose for each speech in the class. Audience. The second major constraint that you need to consider as a speaker is the type of audience you will have. As discussed in the chapter on audience analysis, different audiences have different political, religious, and ideological learnings. As such, choosing a speech topic for an audience that has a specific mindset can be very tricky. Unfortunately, choosing what topics may or may not be appropriate for a given audience is based on generalizations about specific audiences. For example, maybe you are going to give a speech at a local meeting of Democratic leaders. You may think that all Democrats are liberal or progressive, but there are many conservative Democrats as well. If you assume that all Democrats are liberal or progressive, you may end up offending your audiences by making such a generalization without knowing better. Context. The third major constraint relates to the context. For speaking purposes, the context of a speech is a set of circumstances surrounding a particular speech. There are countless different contexts in which we can find ourselves speaking. A classroom in college, a religious congregation, a corporate boardroom, a recruitment village, or a political convention. In each of these different contexts, the expectations for a speaker are going to be unique and different. The topics that may be appropriate in front of a religious group may not be appropriate in the corporate boardroom. Topics appropriate for the corporate boardroom may not be appropriate at a political convention. Time frame, the last but by no means least important. Major constraint that you will face is the time frame of your speech. In speeches that are under 10 minutes in length, you must narrowly focus a topic to one major idea. For example, in a 10-minute speech, you could not realistically hope to discuss the entire topic of the US Social Security Program. There are countless books, research articles, websites, and other forms of media on the topic of Social Security, so trying to crystallize all that information. I'm Reyna Del Rosario live at Benlag Herona reporting. Back to you, Nicole.
Thank you, Reina. The waiting is over. Nicole Ermitanio ready to inform her fellow classmates to give information about the general purpose and other information about live at Makalan, Herona. Be confident, Nicole. General purpose. The broad goal of a speech. To inform. The first general purpose that some people have for giving speeches is to inform. Simply put, this is about helping audience members acquire information that they do not already possess. Audience members can then use this information to understand something. For example, a speech on a new technology, a speech on a new virus, or to perform a new task or improve their skills. For example, how to swing a golf club, how to assemble a layer cake. The most important characteristic of informative topics is that the goal is to gain knowledge. Notice that the goal is not to encourage people to use that knowledge in any specific way. When a speaker starts encouraging people to use knowledge in a specific way, he or she is no longer informing but is persuading. Let's look at a real example of how an individual can accidentally go from informing to persuading. Let's say you are assigned to inform an audience about a new vaccination program. In an informative speech, the purpose of the speech is to explain to your audience what the program is and how it works, but rather persuading them to become involved in the program. One of the most common mistakes new public speaking students make it is to blur the line between informing and persuading. Why we share knowledge? Knowledge sharing is the process of delivering information, skills, or expertise in some form to people who could benefit from it. In fact, understanding and exchanging knowledge is so important that an entire field of study, called knowledge management, has been created to help people, especially businesses, become more effective at harnessing and exchanging knowledge. The first type of informative speech relates to object, which can include how objects are designed, how they function, and what they mean. For example, a student of one of our co-authors gave a speech on the design of corsets, using a mannequin to demonstrate how corset were placed on women and the amount of force necessary to raise one up. The second type of informative speech focuses on people. People-based speeches tend to be biography-oriented. Such topics could include recounting an individual's achievements and explaining why he or she is important in history. Some speakers who are famous themselves will focus on their own lives and how various events shape who they ultimately became. The third type of informative speech involves explaining the significance of specific events, either historical or contemporary. For example, you could deliver a speech on a specific battle of World War II or a specific presidential administration. If you are a history buff, event-oriented speeches may be right up your alley. There are countless historical events that many people are familiar with and would find interesting. You could also inform your audience about a more recent or contemporary event. Some examples include concerts, plays, and arts festival, athletic competitions, and natural phenomena such as storms, eclipses, and earthquakes. The point is to make sure that an informative speech is talking about the event, who, what, when, where, and why, and not attempting to persuade people to pass judgment upon the event or its effects. The fourth type of informative speech involves concepts or abstract and difficult ideas or theories. For example, if you want to explain a specific communication theory of E.M. Griffin, provides an excellent list of communication theories on his website, whether you want to discuss theories related to business, sociology, psychology, religion, politics, art, or any other major area of study. This type of speech can be very useful in helping people to understand complex ideas. The fifth type of informative speech involves processes. The process speech can be divided into two unique types: how it functions and how to do. The first type of process speech helps audience members understand how a specific object or system works. For example, you can explain how a bill becomes a law in the United States. There is a very specific set of steps that a bill must go through before it becomes a law. So there is a very clear process that could be explained to an audience. The how-to-do speech, on the other hand, is designed to help people come to an end result of some kind. For example, you could give a speech on how to change tire, how to write a resume, and millions of other how-to-oriented topics. In our experience, the how-to speech is probably the most commonly delivered informative speech in public speaking classes. The final type of informative speech involves issues or problems or matters of dispute. This informative speech topic is probably the most difficult for novice public speakers because it requires walking a fine line between informing and persuading. If you attempt to deliver this type of speech, remember the goal is to be balanced when discussing both sides of the issue. I'm Nicole Ermitaño, live at Amakalan Herona, reporting. Back to you, Nicole.
Thank you, Nicole. The overflowing information will be fulfilled more by Donabel Pascua by giving the second category of the general purpose, live at Bawa Herona. Voice it out, Donabel.
To persuade, the second general purpose people can have for speaking is to persuade. When we speak to persuade, we attempt to get listeners to embrace a point of view or to adopt a behavior that they would not have done otherwise. A persuasive speech can be distinguished from an informative speech by the fact that it includes a call for action for the audience to make some change in their behavior or thinking. Why we persuade? The reason behind persuasive speech fall into two main categories, which we will call pure persuasion and manipulative persuasion. Pure persuasion occurs when a speaker should listener to engage in a specific behavior or change of point of view because the speaker truly believes that the change is in the best interest of the audience members. For example, you may decide to give a speech on the importance of practicing good oral hygiene because you truly believe that oral hygiene is important
and that bad oral hygiene can lead to a range of physical, social, and psychological problems. In this case, the speaker has no ulterior or hidden motive. Manipulative persuasion, on the other hand, occurs when a speaker urges listener to engage in a specific behavior or change a point of view by misleading them, often to fulfill an ulterior motive beyond the face value of the persuasive attempt. We call this form of persuasion manipulative because the speaker is not being honest about the real purpose for attempting to persuade the audience. Ultimately, this form of persuasion is perceived as highest dishonest when audience members discover the ulterior motive. For example, suppose a physician who also owns a large amount of stock in a pharmaceutical company is asked to speak before a group of other physicians about a specific disease. Instead of informing the group about the disease, the doctor spent the bulk of his time attempting to persuade the audience that the drug his company manufactures is the best treatment for that specific disease. Obviously, the key question for persuasion is the speaker's intent. Is the speaker attempting to persuade the audience because of the sincere belief in the benefits of a certain behavior or point of view, or is the speaker using all possible means, including distorting the truth, to persuade the audience because he or she will derive personal benefits from their adopting a certain behavior or point of view? Unless your speech assignment specifically calls for speech of manipulative persuasion. The usual and ethical understanding of persuasive speech assignment is that you should use the pure form of persuasion. Persuasion, behavior versus attitudes, values, and belief. As we've mentioned in the preceding sections, persuasion can address behavior, observable action on the part of listeners, and it can also address intangible thought processes in the form of attitudes, values, and beliefs. When the speakers attempt to persuade an audience to change behavior, we can often observe and even measure how successful the persuasion was. For example, after a speech attempting to persuade the audience to donate money to a charity, the charity can measure how many donations were received. The second type of persuasive topic involves a change in attitude, values, or belief. An attitude is defined as an individual general predisposition toward something as being good or bad, right or wrong, negative or positive. If you believe that dress codes on college campuses are a good idea, you want to give a speech persuading others to adopt a positive attitude toward campus dress codes. A speaker can also attempt to persuade listeners to change some value they hold. Value refers to an individual's perception of the usefulness, importance, or worth of something. We can value a college education, we can value technology, and we can value freedom. Values, as a general concept, are fairly ambiguous and tend to be very lofty ideas. Ultimately, what we value in life actually motivates us to engage in a range of behaviors. For example, if you value protecting the environment, you may recycle more of your trash than someone who does not hold this value. If you value family history and heritage, you may be more motivated to spend time with your older relatives and ask them about their early lives than someone who does not hold this value.
Attempt to persuade people to change their personal beliefs. On this area, you are able to persuading people to change their personal beliefs and create a new beliefs that they may wear. For example, the Korean culture that have been prioritizing most of the millennials nowadays.
I'm Donabel Pascua, live at Bawa Herona, reporting. Back to you, Nicole.
Thank you, Donabel. Tune up because there's more. The third category was ready to serve by Emeline Facun, live at Salapungan, Herona. Serve it, Emeline.
To entertain, the final general purpose people can have for public speaking is to entertain, whereas informative and persuasive speech making is focused on the end result of the speech process. Entertainment speaking is focused on the theme and occasion of the speech, and entertaining speech can be either informative or persuasive and its truth, but the context or theme of the speech requires speakers to think about the speech primarily in terms of audience enjoyment. Why we entertain? Entertaining speech are very common in everyday life. The fundamental goal of entertaining speech is audience enjoyment, which can come in a variety of forms. Entertaining speech can be funny or serious. Overall, entertaining speech are not designed to give an audience a deep understanding of life, but instead of function as a way to divert an audience from their day-to-day lives for a short period of time. This is not to say that an entertaining speech cannot have real content that is highly informative or persuasive, but its goal is primarily about the entertaining aspects of the speech and not focus on the informative or persuasive quality of the speech. Common forms of entertaining topics. There are three basic types of entertaining speech: the after dinner speech, the ceremonial speech, and the inspirational speech. The after dinner speech is a form of speaking where a speaker takes a serious speech topic, either informative or persuasive, and injects a level of humor into the speech to make it entertaining. Some novice speakers will attempt to turn an after dinner speech into a stand up comedy routine, which doesn't have the same focus. After dinner speech are first and foremost speech. A ceremonial speech is a type of entertaining speech where the specific context of the speech is the driving force of the speech. Common type of ceremonial speech include introductions, toasts, and eulogies. In each of these cases, there are specific events that drive the speech. Maybe you're introducing an individual who is about to receive an award, giving a toast at your best friend's wedding, or delivering the eulogy of relative funeral. In each of these cases, the speech and the purpose of the speech is determined by the context of the event and not by the desire to inform or persuasive. The final type of entertaining speech is one where the speaker's primary goal is to inspire her or his audience. Inspirational speech are based in emotional with the goal to motivate listeners to alter their lives in some significant way. Florence is a famous professional speaker, delivers an emotional charged speech titled Silver Boxes. The title comes from a story she tells at the beginning of the speech, where she was teaching a group of children about using positive speech, and one of the children defined positive speech as giving people little silver boxes with bows on top. I'm Emeline Facul, live at Salapungan Herona Tarlac, reporting. Back to you, Nicole.
Thank you, Emmeline. Are you still confused on how to determine the general purpose? Live at Bularit, Herona. Jonalyn De La Peña, please enlighten us.
Specific purposes. A single infinite phrase that states precise what a speaker hopes to accomplish in his or her speech. Selecting a topic, learning objectives. Understand the four primary constraints of topic selection. Demonstrate an understanding of how a topic is narrowed from a broad subject area to a manageable specific. Purpose. One of the most common stumbling blocks for novice public speaker is selecting their first speech topic. Audience. The second major constraint that you need to consider as a speaker is the type of audience you will have. Context. The third major constraint relates to the context. For speaking purposes, the context of a speech is the set of circumstances surrounding a particular speech. Example: topic, blood donation, general purposes to inform specific purposes to inform my audience about the benefits of blood donation for our health. Write the purpose statement as a full infinite phrase, not as a fragment. More effective to inform my audience about three major kinds of current 3D technology. Express your purpose as a statement, not as a question. Ineffective, what is the benefits of reading? More effective to inform my audience about the benefit of reading among the students. Avoid figurative language in your purpose statement. Ineffective or persuade my audience that the campus policy on the students parking really sticks. More effective to persuade my audience that the campus policy on student parking should be revised to provide to more spaces for students before 5 a.m. 4. Limit your purpose statement to a one distinct idea. Ineffective to persuade my audience to stop smoking or to persuade my audience the importance of having a healthy lifestyle. The overall goal of a persuasive speech is for the audience to accept your viewpoint as a speaker. However, this is not a nuanced enough definition to capture the actual goals of different persuasive speeches. Persuasive speeches can be designed to convince, actuate, or and stimulate the audience. Number 5, make sure your specific purpose is not too vague or general, ineffective to persuade my audience that something should be done, not about unsealed school abuses. More effective to persuade my audience that the federal government should impose stronger safety standards for school abuses in Malaysia. I'm Jonalyn De La Peña, live at Bularit Heron, Tarlac, reporting. Back to you, Nicole.
Thank you, Jonalyn, to give us what are the possible questions to ask, determining the specific purpose, praising the central idea, and guideline for the central idea. Again, Nicole Ermitaño, Maria Dulay, and Donabel Pascua will fulfill the puzzle.
Questions to ask about your specific purpose. First, does my purpose meet the assignment? Second, can I accomplish my purpose in the time allotted? Third, is the purpose relevant to my audience? Fourth, is the purpose too trivial for my audience? Fifth, is the purpose too technical for my audience? Those questions will help you to locate your specific purpose.
Central idea is a one-sentence statement that sums up or encapsulates the major ideas of a speech. Minsan, itong central idea is tinatawag ding thesis, wherein you can use your specific purpose statement to help you write your central idea. Central idea should be expressed in a full sentence, should not be in the form of a question, should avoid figurative language, and should not be vague or overly general. Residual message is the final brief and broad statement that sums up the main message you want your audience to remember. It usually hints to the broader speech theme. In essence, it's the main takeaway. I'm Maria Isadel Dulay, live at Salapungan, Herona, reporting. Back to you, Nicole.
Guideline for the central idea. The central idea should, first, be expressed in a full sentence. It should not be in a shortcut or short line manner. The more expresses in full sentences, the better understanding acquired by the audience. Second, should not be in the form of a question. It should be in the form of concise and well-organized statement to understand it well. Third, should avoid figurative language. To avoid confusion to the audience, it should use the literal language so that they will easily understand what you are trying to pointing out. Fourth, should not be vague or overly general. It should be specific to easily comprehend by the audience the statement that you are trying to be relay.
And that's the latest and hottest news for the day. If you want to be updated, please follow the www.bid1gnews.com and get the latest learning you will be able to acquire. I'm Nicole Ermitaño. Have a great day, everyone.